Hello, my name is Elijah, and today we're looking at the greatest Animal Crossing items to ever be introduced to the game series. Is the froggy chair in this video? Check. Is whatever this thing is in this video? Also check. And trust me, there's so much more. This is of course only my opinion, but trust me, this is the only opinion that you'll need to hear, because these items are objectively just the best. Okay, let's start with this. If you're playing the game in the months of April through October if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, and let's say you're staying up late, you're playing Animal Crossing New Horizons. If you log onto your game in between the hours of 9 p.m. and 4 a.m., if you do some extreme fishing in the river, there's a chance that you can catch a snapping turtle. Now, of course, we've already known you can put fish on display. That's no big deal, but this isn't a fish. This is a turtle. There are two interesting things you can do with him. If you put him on display, not only does he just chill there and hang out, and he's kind of the best. He was the mayor in my town, actually, for a little while. He's retired, and now Kiki has taken over. It was a whole ordeal. But for a while, he was the mayor, and, I mean, he just kind of chilled there. He was pretty great. But there's a little more. You can actually also take this turtle to Blathers, and he'll tell you a story about how one of these guys chased him across a parking lot and he had to climb on top of a car. What? Okay, this video obviously can't exist unless we talk about the froggy chair. The froggy chair is obviously one of the most important things to ever be in Animal Crossing, and sometimes you don't appreciate the things that are so important and integral to the game until they're gone. The froggy chair had been an iconic piece of furniture in every single Animal Crossing title until Animal Crossing New Horizons came out, and it was just gone. People were really upset about it. The social media took over. People were lamenting the loss of the froggy chair for months after New Horizons had come out, but then in a very unexpected twist, when Nintendo announced the Animal Crossing 2.0 update alongside Happy Home Paradise, we saw in that trailer, is that it? The return of the froggy chair! Yes, it was back, and it had different versions of the froggy chair, and fans could rest easy finally knowing that one of the most beloved pieces of furniture was back in the game. I don't know. Why do people love the froggy chair so much? I don't know. It's just a chair that has a frog on it. It's pretty cool, okay? Live and let live. Now, I've talked about this a lot on this channel, but as many of you know, my island in Animal Crossing is very much city themed, as you can kind of tell from my town. And one of the coolest things that I found about going for this design was trying to challenge myself to fill my island with items that can really sell the fact that this is supposed to look like a city. So of course, there's some items that really changed the game when it came to what I was able to decorate with and what I was able to use to paint the overall illusion that this is a city with buildings and whatnot. One of the biggest things in the original version of Animal Crossing before the 2.0 update were the use of simple panels, and I know people have come up with crazy builds utilizing these panels for all types of aesthetics. I think the fact that we have something so easy to use that you can customize is a real game changer for outdoor decorating in Animal Crossing New Horizons. The fact that you can paint whatever you want and try to use that in a way to manipulate things like forced perspective and 2D into 3D type designs is really awesome, and I think some people utilize these way beyond what I'm even able to utilize these simple panels for, but that's what kind of makes Animal Crossing special, I think. I love simple panels because the custom designs you can put on literally can make your island one of a kind. If we didn't have these things, so many islands would just look cookie cutter and similar just because of the use of the same items over and over again. I think simple panels took the idea of designs and just gave players the ability to just take it a step further. But that's not all. There was another item also in the original game that added a ton of depth as well, and that is the use of stalls. I used so many of these to make things like alleyways or other little things to kind of make my cliff buildings look more extended than just, you know, a cliff with some panels in front of it. I love these stalls. They're utilized in so many different ways, and once again have the customizable feature in the designs to really change the way that the tops of these look, so you can have very customized and unique stalls across the board. You can make a cool roof, or you can spin them around and do something different with them. I don't know, put your turtle on them. Here's something not a lot of people expected to come in the 2.0 update: drinkable drinks. I mean, that's not really the point. The real takeaway was that we were able to finally hold drinks and walk around in Animal Crossing. Yeah, when Animal Crossing New Horizons first came out, we were limited to just placing drinks as furniture items on tables and whatnot, but eventually we got an update where we're actually allowed to hold on to the drinks, and now I just feel a little more complete that I can walk around with a drink in hand. Okay, way back, I did 100 days in Animal Crossing Crossing on the original GameCube version of the game. And along the way, I really came to recognize and appreciate a lot of the furniture items that are in this game. But one thing definitely stood out more uniquely than everything else. There was a painting of Washington crossing the Delaware. Now, this painting commemorates General George Washington's crossing of the Delaware River with the Continental Army on the night of December 25th through the 26th during the American Revolutionary War. And why was Red selling this? I don't know. But nonetheless, I knew I needed to not only buy it, immediately go put it on display in my house. And you know what? It's still, to this day, one of my proudest achievements in my GameCube save of Animal Crossing, because I mean, just look at it. It's brilliant. You know, across the board, the original Animal Crossing game did have some interesting furniture pieces, just saying the least. Like, there are all of the Nintendo references that started with the original Animal Crossing game and then carried on throughout the years with other Animal Crossing titles as well. In my playthrough on the GameCube, I saw this GameCube logo, which was really cool. There was the Master Sword. I even saw the R-Wing as a raffle item at one point from Star Fox, but I couldn't win the raffle to get the item that day, so I was kind of sad about that. Over in Animal Crossing City Folk, I actually found some really awesome things, like there was this Mario brick, there was a bullet bill that shot a bullet across my house. That was incredible. Over at Animal Crossing New Leaf, there was a lot of Nintendo references as well, like you could dress up as Link from The Legend of Zelda pretty easily. There was Samus's helmet from Metroid, which was kind of cool. And then New Horizons released and we got a Nintendo Switch. Okay, to be fair, there were other Nintendo references and they did an update that added a ton of Mario references, which were really cool. These Mario themed items look awesome and my wife Sandy put them all over her island from one end to another. But the best part of this Nintendo collection definitely were the warp pipes that let you go from one end of your island to another instantly. It's really handy. I don't even know what we should call this category we just went through, like Nintendo items, but they're the best items. Like, they're really the coolest collectibles you can find in the game, so they count. We didn't even talk about the NES games that you could get in the original Animal Crossing game and like keep them in your house where you could play the NES game. That was incredible too, something that really should have come back, but I think Nintendo realized they could make money selling those games instead, so they removed them from future titles. Okay, when Animal Crossing New Horizons came out, there was an item that really isn't all that rare, but it is seasonal. But since the game came out in the springtime, the item was pretty rare and it wasn't even in season yet in the southern hemisphere yet. But the mushroom collection of items in New Horizons were so rare at the beginning of the life of Animal Crossing and became very, very much so sought after, especially by me. I wanted to have all mush lamps just everywhere on my island, from one end to the other if I wanted. But the problem was you had to have like the special mushrooms and the DIY recipes with them to craft the mush lamps. So the only people who actually had access to these were people who were time traveling very early. And I'll be honest, I wanted the mush lamps more than anything else, but I wasn't willing to time travel that early in Animal Crossing's release because I felt like it would sabotage the experience of the game. So instead, I resorted to online trading on the black market to find these mush lamps one way or another, and I paid top bell for a collection of these mush lamps. And now I have like so many in my inventory I don't even know what to do with. I was going for a mush lamp theme early on and then it pivoted away. But I still have some mush lamps out around my island, but at the end of the day, I really love the way that these things look. They're mushrooms, they light up, and they come in a variety of colors. What more can you ask for? Also, while we're on the topic of the early days of Animal Crossing, do you guys remember the giant fighting mech that's like available in the little Nook machine? For a long time, this to the Animal Crossing community was like the end game content. This was like the end all be all. If you could be a pro at Animal Crossing and gather enough resources, you could make this thing and show it off, and it was a really big deal. Not only did buying the recipe kind of cost a decent amount of Nook miles, but the hardest thing to gather by far were the rusted parts, which essentially are only given to you by Gulliver, where you help him find the parts for his communicator, and then you have to not give him the parts, or you can work with him and maybe find some rusted parts in your recycling the next day. Nonetheless, gathering the rusted parts has to be intentional, and it's completely reliant on whenever Gulliver actually shows up on your island. And if you're playing normally, it's like maybe once or twice a week if you're lucky. And you kind of needed quite a few of the rusted parts to make the giant mech. On top of that, I think you also needed quite a bit of gold, but man, if you managed to get all the pieces together to build one of these things, it was a really big deal. Nowadays, we have quite a few of them, but in the early days, it was a huge deal. Did you know, in the earliest days of Animal Crossing, when we looked like this on the GameCube, the clothing options were pretty limited. And then, you know, Wild World came, City Folk came, but New Leaf added something massive. Pants. Yeah, it's kind of funny to think that all of these years of Animal Crossing being such a hit, pants weren't a thing that you could customize until all the way into New Leaf. But hey, look at us now. We had pants. It was pretty exciting. Don't even get me started with things like shoes and socks nowadays. Okay. Look at this. It's a corrugated fence. Pretty cool, right? I really like this fence for some reason. Also, while we're on the topic of just like random furniture items that I like, this We're Open light, I really have always loved this. I have every color of them. I like to flip them around and put them up backwards. I like to have them forward. I just think that they're cool. And if you don't have one of these on your island, what are you doing? You need to get one of these at some point and just kind of have it on display. I think they're nice. Okay, I think one of the most frustrating things if you're an Animal Crossing player though, is when other Animal Crossing games have things that you really want in your current game that you're playing, like maybe New Horizons, and you can't get access to. This was really frustrating during the drought after Animal Crossing came out before 2.0, where we felt like we've seen all the furniture items and we're just kind of waiting to see what Nintendo would do next. And then you get an alert on your phone from the Animal Crossing Twitter account and you get excited and then see, oh, it's just another Pocket Camp update. To this day, it still irritates me that Animal Crossing Pocket Camp has substantially more updates and support than Animal Crossing New Horizons, despite the fact that Animal Crossing is the second best-selling Nintendo Switch game. So when we're trying to build really cool things on our island, it get really frustrating to see some crazy, nice, and awesome furniture pieces getting added over to Pocket Camp that you just wish were available in New Horizons. Like, you gotta visualize where these cool things would be. The big one that really just like irked me more than anything else was the Ferris wheel. I wanted to do like a little theme park at one point, and I thought a Ferris wheel would be such a cool thing to have and like really just center a carnival. Not in New Horizons, but it is in Pocket Camp. And yeah, that was kind of a sad thing. I mean, I guess I can make the argument that Pocket Camp has the best Ferris wheel in Animal Crossing. It definitely does. I just wish it was also in New Horizons. Then similarly, but maybe not as desperately, Animal Crossing New Leaf had a lot of public works projects that I guess don't count necessarily as individual items or furniture pieces, but a lot of the public works projects from Animal Crossing New Leaf did make their way over into New Horizons as just simple furniture pieces that you could put down, and that was really cool. The Tokyo Tower, which for a long time I thought was an Eiffel Tower, I was wrong about that, never did make its way into Animal Crossing New Horizons though, but it was something you could have in New Leaf, and that's really, really cool. What? This is amazing! Why isn't it in New Horizons? I'll give credit where credit's due though. New Leaf definitely has the Tokyo Tower game on point, and I think it does have a really cool look for that. Now, there is something Animal Crossing New Horizons added that was really, really great if we're talking just like quality of life improvements when it comes to the best items in the franchise. But the big 2.0 update added ATMs and storage units to the game, and this was big. Before, depositing and withdrawing money, the only way you could get it was to go into resident services and hit the ATM up, but boom, all of a sudden you can put an ATM wherever you want, making accessibility a whole lot easier. And then the same thing goes for storage, not having to go into your house every single time you want to do stuff with your storage. It's really massive, and it's way nicer being able to just sort through your stuff without having to enter your house every time and just kind of put stuff away while you're on the go. A super underrated and underappreciated feature or items that were added were these two, and yeah, they're great. But what about tambourines? Okay, there's a couple of handheld items that I just think are amazing. The tambourine is one of them. I just think there's something about just hitting your tambourine in the face of someone else to just, you know, put them in their place. It feels great. There are some honorable mentions that are handheld items that aren't as great as the tambourine. The maracas, A+. They're really cool. Also, the little light stick that you can swing around. I'm a pretty big fan of that, but there are some other handheld items that were great. Just none of them are nearly as neat as the tambourine in at least this instance. Okay, this is the more divisive one. People are going to be on either side of the aisle here, but how do you guys feel about gyroids? This is such a weird one for me. In the older games of Animal Crossing, I never liked gyroids. Didn't want them in my house, just wasn't a fan of them. I always thought they were weird. They made weird noises and they just kind of wobbled around, and they weren't like reflective of any real furniture that I would put in my house. So when New Horizons came out, gyroids weren't in the game as furniture items, and I was outraged. This is Animal Crossing. How are you going to change it on me? I don't know how to explain it, but it's like, I don't like gyroids. I don't really want them, but I don't want them not in the game either. I feel like you're changing Animal Crossing too much if you don't have these weird things in my villager houses to get mad about. Fortunately enough, the 2.0 update added gyroids into the game. There's a whole process of getting gyroids, and now I can just happily ignore them in peace, but I'm glad they're back in the game. And I think for a lot of people, the gyroids were a part of the identity of Animal Crossing, and for them to just be randomly gone, it was a bit strange. Also, while we're on the topic of 2.0 things and things that I did and didn't like, I really enjoyed the fact that they added castle walls, or just different types of these larger walls that you can put around. Game changing for trying to design my town and my city themed island. I can now put up these tall walls and make these buildings look more believable than ever before. I could throw these display cases that had flowers or do other types of things and put things in cases and whatnot. It was huge. I still wish Animal Crossing would just let us put buildings and decorate the buildings on our island, kind of like how you can decorate a coffee shop or a school in Happy Home Paradise, but just on our actual island. But in the meantime, I'll take what I can get, and I really do appreciate these types of taller items. Tying that together with the addition of other things that they added in, like pergolas and gazebos. These all look great also, and you can really do a lot of cool things having the ability to utilize some of these things finally. Matter of fact, you could take things a step further and use some of these ideas inside your actual house, or I guess if you're decorating something in Happy Home Paradise, and do some forced perspective stuff or create some illusions utilizing things like these tall fences or even the walls to make it look like you have like an indoor-outdoor type vibe going to it. There's a couple of other items that have existed throughout Animal Crossing history that you can kind of do some trickery, and it's always really cool to see, like using the sky flooring and the clouds and then putting little wooden rug type things over those creates this like steam effect if you're trying to like make a sauna room or something. I always thought stuff like that is really cool to just come up with something unique with those ideas. Okay, and then we have to talk about the addition of things that light up in Animal Crossing, because I feel like a mosquito because I'm always attracted to anything that has lights on them. Festivale, it was a mess. All I was doing was trying to catch these stupid rainbow feathers so I could turn them in and get a stall that had these tiny little lights on them. And this was before the Happy Home update where you could then customize them on your own. You had to use special feathers to customize get the color you want, but they did have lights on them. The whole Festivale collection was really cool. It's a shame that it's limited to just a short amount of time you can actually obtain these items in your game. And on the topic of seasonal events, also the cherry blossom season, it runs for like a week at best. And it's a time where your island might look absolutely beautiful with all the pink trees and whatnot. But yeah, if you're noticing it's cherry blossom season, take that stuff seriously. Get those petals, get those recipes, and start crafting, because those things are really cool looking. The collection, especially these lamps. And just in general, I am a fan of the rest of the cherry blossom furniture set. It's not really furniture, but item set that does come with that season if you can get all the stuff in time to craft. And then there's one other thing I really like, and it's the entire like space set of items. I mean, I know they already have like a bunch of astronaut type gear and whatnot, which already looks really cool, but especially if you look at things like the moon that you can craft, or the Nova lights, which are little lights that you can dye into different colors and whatnot and put those out. Those things have always been cool, and I think that they really looked great when we had star trees. People were really upset about those being a thing, but I always did think it was cool looking at pictures or videos of people who had star trees and incorporated the Nova lights into their overall design in some regard. At least Nova lights are legal though, and we can do what we want with them, and tie that together with this giant moon that you could just have. Yeah, just why not? Have the moon on your island. Who cares? I think it's a cool art piece, I guess, or centerpiece. I don't know what you would call this. It's the moon. Get it on your island, it's gonna look cool either way. Okay, so those are my picks of the greatest items in Animal Crossing of all time, easily, objectively, 100% correct, perfectly. If you disagree, feel free to let me know in the comments what your items are, or what items you think that I missed that maybe should have been included. You might have been right, maybe I missed a thing or two, and I do genuinely like to hear your feedback and what you think about these types of videos and what your opinions are on them. So let me know in the comment section down below. Also, make sure you're subscribing, notifications on for more videos like this. We upload a new Animal Crossing video at least like every week, and we're pretty proud of them. We're moving along. So thanks everyone for all of the support. It's been a wild ride, but hey, we'll just keep on going. We'll catch you guys all next time with a brand new video.